Good morning, DGiT fam. Adam Dowd here, rounding off another week of all the tech goodness that you need to know. It has been a crazy week, so crazy that I missed both the MLB All-Star Game and the Taylor Swift concert on Amazon Prime, and I didn't even realize it. But hey, crazy is busy and busy is good, so in all, I can't complain that I missed the AL beating the NL again. So for now, it is July 12th, 2019, and this is your DigiTimes Daily. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to head downtown and check out Sprint's new 5G network in Chicago. Unlike Verizon, who relies on millimeter wave technology, Sprint is using what's known as the sub-6 spectrum to facilitate its 5G. The primary difference between the two, as far as consumers are concerned, is range. A sub-6 node has the same range and footprint as a 4G node, measured in kilometers. A millimeter wave node has a range of, at best, 800 feet on a clear day with no trees. Sub-6 works inside, millimeter wave, not so much. Now, the other primary difference between sub-6 and millimeter wave is speed. Millimeter wave is hella faster than sub-6. In Chicago, I peaked out at 1,493 megabits per second on millimeter wave and about 300 megabits per second on sub-6. That's a huge difference, but the reason Sprint is focusing on sub-6 is because of reliability. With the Sprint 5G phone, you can pull your phone out anywhere, on the street, in a coffee shop, in a car, and get an average of about 150 megabits per second without breaking a sweat. With millimeter wave, you can bust out 700 megabits per second easy if you're standing in just the right spot, facing east with your phone on your head. Or, to put it the way that Sprint CTO Dr. John Saw put it,
we're very comfortable with the strategy we have. We believe that we have the biggest 5G footprint today. You could have really high speeds on millimeter wave, but all that speed and nowhere to go.
We may put that on the commercial.
So I just made it up.
I love that, man. So with that, we get to the final primary difference. Sub-6 is actually ready for consumers right now. Verizon needs to install new base towers every 800 feet all over a major urban center and probably do a lot of tree trimming as well. Sprint just needs to swap out a few 4G nodes and they're ready to go. Now I have full confidence in saying that 5G is here and it's ready for you. There's more to say here, which we'll be saying tonight on the Android Authority podcast. I'll post a link to that episode in the show notes of Monday's DigiTimes Daily so you can all check that out. But for now, it's time for a little DigiT intelligence. You'll remember we introduced you to DigiT Intelligence last week, talking about headphones. Well, this week we reached out to David Imel, senior producer here at Android Authority, to get his take on the best smartphones you can buy today that include a headphone jack. David has reviewed every major smartphone that has come out over the past several years, so his is an opinion that you can trust. So what did he have to say? Like many things, smartphone choice comes down to budget, and David was nice enough to break it all down by budget, starting with the flagship tier. If you want a flagship phone with a headphone jack, look to the Samsung Galaxy S10 series, which includes the Galaxy S10e, the S10, the S10 Plus, and the S10 5G, which by the way goes on sale at Sprint today in Chicago and nationwide on July 19th. This podcast not brought to you by Sprint. LG also gets an honorable mention for its headphone jack and its flagship tier line. For the mid-range, the Asus Zenfone 6 is your Yahtzee. David says he was flabbergasted by the phone and his positive outlook did not diminish with time. This phone is the real deal, packing a ton of value into its $500 frame. But in David's world, the standout feature here is the software, which has never been very good on Asus phones. This year, Asus went with a more stock Android launcher, which is always desirable. Add to that everything you get for this phone for the price, and this is your no-brainer budget buy with a headphone jack. And finally, we have the Pixel 3a on the low end. This phone starts at a paltry $399 and has one of the best cameras around, period. Plus, Google put the headphone jack back into the phone for all of us commoners. The Pixel 3a is Google's budget buster and should really be the only choice if you're looking for a great smartphone experience without having to sell the farm. So with that, we thank David for his words of wisdom, and then we head on over into the roundup. So today I learned that Apple rumor fights are a thing. This all started with a DigiTimes report saying that Apple has terminated its AR/VR goggles project and reassigned team members to other areas. Then a conflicting report came out from the Cult of Mac showing that iOS 13 code still has framework in it that would support AR/VR glasses. Cult of Mac also cites DigiTimes' questionable track record when it comes to Apple rumors, and considering it's the Cult of Mac, I'd be inclined to believe what they have to say about a source's reliability. Either way, grab your popcorn and settle in for the rumor fight. Yesterday, a Dutch news outlet reported that human workers for Google are listening to conversations accidentally recorded by Google Home. The conversations took place without saying the wake word and were being reviewed to make sure that they should have been recorded. Spoiler alert, they shouldn't have been. But that's not really what's concerning here. It makes sense that Google and Amazon and Apple would need to have human ears listen to some conversations to make sure transcription is working, etc., etc. What is concerning is that one of those employees was able to share a couple hundred of those recordings with a Dutch news outlet in the first place. That information is supposed to be confidential and private, so allowing that to get out there is very not cool and could also have potential GDPR ramifications and more. Stay tuned to this story. You may remember a couple of months back we talked about a Jeep Cherokee that got buried under 10 feet of snow. Well, today we get an end to the tale. The Jeep's owner headed back to the Lake Tahoe area, and wouldn't you know it, most of the snow had gone and the Jeep was just sitting there on the road, parked next to the vehicles of several other tourists. So, he and a friend towed the car back home. Unfortunately, the Jeep was kind of a total loss. Insurance totaled the Jeep and towed it away. But at least it gave the owner, and all of us frankly, some amount of closure for the whole ordeal. And finally, and if I'm totally honest, I have mixed feelings about this, heavy metal band Metallica has written a children's book. Titled The ABCs of Metallica, the book details the band's history, which includes the death of their bassist Cliff Burton, an album titled Kill 'Em All, which is actually better than the original title, which was supposed to be Metal Up Your Ass, and more recently, not one, but 2 album covers featuring blood, urine, and ejaculate. Now, I'm not going to judge, I really don't care what you put on your album covers, but I'm pretty sure the children's book authorship sailed when those 2 albums pulled into port. So that is going to do it for today's DGiT Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on DGiT.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again on Monday.